Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MMA Game. It is your boy Cameron Roger coming to you live from the MMA Game studios. In today's episode, we have a special guest. Guys, he is a fellow 10th Planet freak. He is a purple belt. He is also the owner of Insomnia to Peace. He is my dude, my guy, John Navillier, or Navilliet for the fellow Americans out there. Had to put my little French spin on it.
There you go.
Thanks for coming out, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited to talk jiu-jitsu and insomnia with you folks today.
Nice. Thank you for coming, John. I appreciate you having me, brother.
Yeah.
I'm excited because we get to talk about jiu-jitsu. We get to have one of our guys on the show that we get to train with on a daily basis, and he's going to educate us on some insomnia stuff. I don't even know what is insomnia, right? Give the fans out there, anybody that doesn't know what insomnia is or what it isn't. Explain to us on that, brother.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, before I had insomnia, I was under the impression that it was just simply a sleep issue, or just where people couldn't sleep. But now that I've gone through it myself, and now that I've been certified to coach people out of it, it's almost more accurate to not view it as a sleep problem, but to instead look at it as a fear problem that turns into a struggle problem that then results in a sleep problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I did a little research on some stuff for insomnia and everything, and they said that some of the main causes of insomnia are stress, anxiety, and depression. Were you going through any of those through that, or is that how you started to potentially have some insomnia? Or tell us about yours.
So actually, I come from the school of thought that there's only really one thing that causes insomnia.
Okay.
But there's many different things that can trigger it. So let me explain. There's no shortage of things that can cause what I call a sleep disturbance. And a sleep disturbance is anything that can range from, let's say, stress from work, or you're traveling, or maybe you had too much coffee right before bed.
Sugar or something like that right before you went to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And these are all totally normal, healthy things that everyone goes through at some point or another. But when it turns into insomnia is, let's say that this pattern of no sleep happens for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And the person who's going through that, they'll make a note of it, and they'll say to themselves, "Oh, that's strange. This hasn't happened to me before. I should take steps to make sure I get some sleep tonight." Right. And then they'll start putting more effort into it. And maybe they're a little bit concerned. Maybe they're not totally afraid just yet, but it's on their radar. It starts to take up their thoughts throughout the day. And then they start to put in a little bit more effort into how to get sleep. And everyone at this point in time will typically look at the sleep hygiene stuff. You know what? To make sure I'm not going to get any sleep tonight, I'm going to cut off. I'm not going to look at any screens a few hours before bed. I'm going to avoid all caffeine today. And then
throughout the whole day, or even just during the evening?
During the evening initially, but then that's another thing that can spiral. And then they'll get to and then they'll go to bed that night, and then sleep still doesn't happen.
Right.
And then happens again and again and again.
Because now they're thinking about it over and over.
They're
and
thinking
over,
about
right?
it. Now it becomes a problem.
Right.
And I could tell you more about how it started for me exactly, just to give you more concrete examples.
Right.
So I slept throughout my whole life. I slept totally great. I would sleep, anywhere from like 7.5 to 8.5 hours a night. And this all started right on the eve of the night before I started my career as a professional software developer.
Okay.
It was my first big boy job out of college and
first
stuff.
Adult life.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know what a salary was, and so I told myself, I wanted to make a really good impression,
right.
And I wanted to be this really good programmer. So I was like, you know what, I better make sure that I get really good sleep tonight.
Right.
And maybe when I was in school, I would have difficulty sleeping on the night before a big exam or whatever, but it never became a huge thing. But sure enough, the night before my first day on the job, couldn't sleep a wink. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but the desire to perform very well was still present. Yep. And we get told over and over and over and over again that you cannot perform if you do not sleep. So that pressure is still there. So the next night, I told myself, I'm going to take some supplements. I forgot. I think it was like some lemon balm supplements. And I was like, this will surely knock me out.
Right.
Second
night.
It's
a sleeping agent, pretty much. It's supposed to knock you out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Nothing.
Really?
Didn't make it done.
Okay.
And so this was Tuesday night. So now on a Wednesday, I'm certainly feeling it. I went 2 days without sleep, and I'm trying to perform and do really well. And the same thing happened Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm like, okay, well, at least now it's the weekend.
Right,
I have no pressure to,
To fall
to
asleep.
perform
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I don't have to get up. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Saturday and Sunday.
Still couldn't sleep.
Same thing.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What a
So
pain in
I
the
was,
ass.
so that started a 7-year journey of,
So
7 years.
Yeah. So how are you feeling? I guess like Friday, like how are you feeling? Like I guess body wise, not being
not
able to
great.
sleep. Yeah.
Well, to give you a better answer, it wasn't. I didn't feel sleepy.
Yeah.
That's what you would think, like,
Right.
But it was more so. If anything, I felt extremely wired. I was in a constant state of
Your
high
mind's
anxiety,
racing and everything all the
mind's
time.
racing.
Right.
I was, and I didn't feel. I didn't feel good. I felt one of the textbook symptoms is sore eyes. I couldn't. It was very hard to focus, as you'd imagine. It just, in general, everything was very uncomfortable. And what was worse is that I couldn't relax. You could give me the best the best mattress or bed that money could buy,
and you still couldn't get comfortable.
Couldn't get
sleep.
comfortable. No.
Are you getting up during the nights and everything too, and trying to like walk around and like, or are you just laying in bed for hours on end?
It was
All
a
the
mixture of
above?
both. A mixture of both.
Jeez.
Now, to be clear, when I say 7 years, it's not as if I didn't get any sleep at all during that 7 years. There were periods of where I had good stretches,
right?
And I thought I figured some things out. Like, I figured out how to get to make sleep happen this time. But some time ago on, sure enough, my the anxiety would flare back up, and it would go right back down again. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I would have that yo-yo pattern was because I never really addressed the root cause of the insomnia. Yeah.
Okay. Right. What was the root cause in your case, or is it specific for every single person? Meaning, like they're gonna have one root cause, or
it's not unique. It comes down to the same thing for every single person, which is that they've developed a fear of being awake at night.
Really?
They've not so much that like it's not something like that they're afraid of, like the dark or something like that. It's more so that they have so much experience of being sleep deprived that they know how awful tomorrow is going to feel if they don't get sleep. So that's what where the fear comes from. Yeah.
So their mind just sits there thinking about it over and over and over while they're trying to sleep.
I mean, it's the most, and because the fear gets to the point where it's so strong that it becomes really, for most insomniacs, it becomes, if not the number one, at least it's in the top 3 or 5. Number one of the top problems of their life.
Number one issue, top problems, issues of their life that they go through.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it certainly was, especially when it was really bad.
Yeah. So yours what was the longest amount of days that you've gone without getting any sleep consecutive?
So it's a hard question to answer because almost everyone who suffers from insomnia, they are getting some sleep, but it's not perceptive sleep. So
it's maybe not deep sleep too, right?
Definitely, not deep sleep, right? But they don't have that sensation of distinctly waking up, like both of you had, this morning. Right. And so that can be reassuring for a lot of people suffering from insomnia, because they will swear, and myself included, up and down, that no, I didn't get any sleep at all whatsoever. But their partner, their husband or wife, will tell them, no, you were sound asleep.
And they thought they were awake.
They thought they were awake the whole night. So I think it's it's almost like that that kind of sleep that you get when you're on an airplane and you're kind of like that limbo in and out,
like restless, almost like you're not really, you're sleeping, but you're still like moving, you're still adjusting like that, right? Always trying to get comfortable, at least on a plane. Like I know I'm trying to like put my head here. No, that's not comfortable. But this guy farted. Now I'm out. Like, that kind of stuff.
Pretty much. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things I looked up was the fact for athletes, one of the main reasons causing of insomnia is performance anxiety. exactly what you were just talking about, right? And I feel that's one of my main reasons of why I didn't sleep sometimes, is because I know that I got to perform the next day. I got to go play. I got this big important game, or this something that I'm preparing for that I can't stop thinking about, right? And so therefore it just keeps me awake, even though potentially I might have gotten a little sleep. But there's times where I already know, like, yeah, I'm not sleeping tonight. I already know because I have this important thing coming up tomorrow, and my body just doesn't want to shut off as if it was just a normal day going to the next day, right? And one of the things is that I read also was that it's 3 days is kind of normal for people. Some people have it up to 7. It can be up to 3 years, and you just told me you just had it for 7. Like,
I know people who've
off
had
and
it
on for 7.
Yeah, I know people who've had it for 20 years.
Oh gosh,
Jesus.
Yeah.
So one of the other things for athletes is travel and their bed. And you're mainly doing this for athletes, right, or for MMA guys? Or you kind of
martial artists? Yeah,
Okay.
but this is early days for my private practice, so I might spin out to athletes in general because I think they all have the same, to your point, the same sort of concerns of, the night before a big event, how can I make sleep happen? Although, like, even though you didn't develop insomnia, you just had like 1, maybe 2 nights of restless sleep, and that's totally common. However, it's the same sort of pressure that insomniacs have. So I kind of think of those sort of sleep disturbances as very mild, low grade insomnia. So, and it's amazing how much those sort of sleep disturbances really rhyme with somebody who suffers from chronic insomnia. Whereas maybe you had like a 1 or 2 out of 10 fear. Somebody suffering from chronic insomnia. I mean, some of these people are considering suicide because
it's like that bad.
Yeah, some of my
wow.
The clients that I've talked to, the ones that have had it for a long period of time, have told that to me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it makes sense because they have lost they feel like they have lost the ability to sleep forever. That they've unlocked something.
So maybe my question is: is there a solution? To all of this, or is some people don't have a solution? Like you say, they're going to have it forever.
Right? I'll start off with the worst case scenario. When I say worst case, I mean this is so cartoonishly outrageously bad. Like you would have to get struck by lightning and then win the Powerball like 10 times in a row in order for this to happen. But there are I don't even like to call it insomnia because there's a slew of other very serious symptoms that go along with this, but sporadic fatal insomnia and fatal familial insomnia. It's extraordinarily rare. Okay. I think there's only maybe 40 cases worldwide.
Oh wow!
Of people, and it's a very genetic, and on top of that, it's a very genetic condition. So, I don't think there's any chance that you could have it unless you had a family member who had it. So in that case, there's insomnia is one of the symptoms present.
Okay.
But I wanted to provide some encouragement for other listeners who might be concerned that they just have regular insomnia. If you're able to research, like the litmus test that I like to give out is, if you are able to research fatal familial insomnia, you do not have fatal familial insomnia. There's a lot of the neurological symptoms that go along with it are what you would see with something like dementia or Alzheimer's. Yeah. So, and these people do not have the ability to sleep at all. But with most people, 99.99% of the time, for people suffering from insomnia, they are able to get sleep. Granted, it may be infrequent. But as long as I want to remind these people, as long as they don't have any other serious obvious neurological conditions, then I just want to provide that reassurance. Having said that, almost everyone thinks that everyone suffering from insomnia thinks that they have the special case that can't be resolved.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. There's a lot of, and there's no shortage of anxieties and fears that insomnia will throw at you, but at the end of the day, it's all really just bullshit. And what I try to do with my clients, and what any good insomnia coach would do, is provide reassurance and education and coping mechanisms so that the client will be able to learn from themselves. Like, oh, I was very terrified that I would not get any sleep at all last night for reasons A, B, and C, but sleep was still able to happen.
Right.
Okay. And do you give them little checkpoints every now and then? Like if they know something's going to happen, do they have to do a certain thing that will help them mentally?
What do you mean?
For example, like, you know, how people have a tick and all of a
Hmm.
sudden they have to scratch that little tick or they have to do it. Do you give them anything like they know, like, oh, this tick is going to happen. You need to bite down on something, or you need to be able to go outside and take a walk, or you need to do something, for example, like is a cold plunge or a sauna or cold shower, massages, cupping, sex, any of those things like factors that can help these people knowing that they might have like a bad sleep.
So in general, the less rules we have, the better. And
Okay.
as time goes on, we'll get rid of more and more of those restrictions because I mean I'm sure neither of you guys. I'm sure. Both of you sleep fine?
Yes.
I mean, I wish I could sleep more, but yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
we
I
could
sleep
talk
fine.
about that
Yeah.
later. But
That's just
I'm
being
almost-
a busy man. That's all that is.
I'm almost sure that neither of you guys have like this extremely strict routine in order to force sleep to happen.
No,
No.
not
Yeah.
at all.
No.
Not at all.
And with somebody suffering from insomnia, they will have the most bulletproof, point by point list of things to do that they have to follow in a very
See, and
specific.
that's kind of my question. I'm glad you're saying it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
Is it almost like a superstition? Like,
Superstition.
it can be. It can definitely feel like that,
yeah.
and it's very tricky to figure out when it is and when it isn't because sometimes. Okay, let's say we have somebody suffering from insomnia and they don't know what to do, so they'll go on the latest Andrew Huberman podcast.
Okay.
And they'll check out like, okay, well, Andrew Huberman is saying definitely no screen time right before bed. Take a hot shower. Try out these supplements,
Mhm.
whatever. You can buy them here, whatever.
Mhm.
And they'll take notes. And they'll have like 2 pages worth of notes of stuff that they have to do. And it feels like they're getting ready for fucking war,
Yeah.
going into bed.
Yeah, you're just going to bed. That's all you're doing. You're just
Exactly.
getting into bed and falling asleep.
And they're doing this because they think that their body's ability to sleep is extraordinarily weak. Like they have to make miracles happen in order to make it happen. But really, they don't know this, but it's very counterintuitive. But the more work and the more anxiety they're putting into it, the less helpful that typically tends to be.
Right.
Mm.
It needs to be more natural
And
in a sense, right? Like your body just needs to kind of shut down. You don't need to do all these steps in order to be able to get there.
yeah, you have to trust in your body's ability to sleep. And the reason, and I don't mean to make it sound like all this sleep hygiene stuff, that there's no benefit to it. I'm sure that there is a lot of clinical benefit for it, especially for people who don't have issues sleeping.
Right.
But the issue becomes when somebody who's obsessing about sleep, they're extremely concerned that they did everything in the right way. So let's say, for example, if one of the rules that they had to follow was to take melatonin at I don't know, whatever dosage of melatonin at 8:00 at night,
Mhm.
and they forget about it, and it's 8:05.
Oh,
That's all it takes
Yeah.
for
That's
them to
a-
think,
that- that's a
oh
problem.
shit, I
Yeah.
fucked up.
really?
That's it.
That
Yeah.
quick? 5 minutes?
I mean, they'll find there's no shortage of excuses that they'll find to say, that's it. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Better
So
try
almost
extra
that
hard.
checklist that they're doing, if they fail it, they already know, like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not going to
out.
be able to fall
Mhm.
asleep.
Yeah, it's out the window.
So there's
then.
no,
Yeah.
like you're saying, so there's no point in having a checklist because if you're going through that checklist and you fail one of them, you're already telling yourself, I'm not going to sleep well, which then triggers your mind that you're not going to sleep well. And then you have insomnia.
Yeah, and that fear just gets triggers their fear. Now, the confusing thing, the reason why this yo-yo stuff happens, is sometimes you'll follow the list exactly,
Mhm.
or even with some slight deviation in sleep will happen. So it's very confusing to somebody who's keeping a record of all this stuff. Like,
Right.
what the fuck? Is this stuff working or is it not working?
Right,
I can't
Because
tell.
they really can't tell.
It's so inconsistent.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
then I mean, and you can't blame these people because they're going online. It's like, well, what are all the sleep experts saying to do?
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that I certainly did. That's what almost all my clients did as well. And they never found the long-term consistent recovery that they needed by chasing those sort of sleep hygiene methods.
Interesting. Is it affected by environmental more, like social situations, or is it kind of more of a mental thing, like psychological? Because, for example, I got my degree in sociology, and that has to do with your environment and people interacting around you. And I feel that that's a huge factor for your psychological, because that's how you take it and that's how you process it. But sometimes it might just be straight up psychological that they
Sure.
don't know how to get through it because they have to go through all these steps versus something happened to them in the environment that might make them cause like that? Or is it just situational?
Yeah.
Much?
So any cause. Trying to think the best way to articulate this. It certainly could come from the environment. So earlier I mentioned that there could be any number of sleep disturbances, and to your point, something about the environment. It could be something like maybe your neighbors playing music that's too loud or something like that, or like there's a construction crew next door, or There's no shortage of things that can really cause it.
Right.
But really, the one thing that really causes insomnia is when people make note of the poor sleep that they got, and then they start to make it more and more of a priority. And then they start to
bad sleep. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. For example, like I have a neighbor that was above me for years, and I knew at a certain time in the morning they would get up at the same exact time, and I have to wake up and do something in order to be able to put myself back to sleep. So I'm assuming people with insomnia have that main problem. When it comes to training, do people potentially overtrain? Does that affect sleep at all?
It could, but it could affect sleep, but it doesn't really have a bearing on insomnia unless the person who is training makes it out to be. Okay. So, for example, I was helping somebody with this recently, who they were concerned that they were training too late at night, and that was causing their insomnia.
Yeah.
Okay.
When really, could training late at night, if you were doing like sparring at say like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, could that cause some sleep disturbance for a little bit? It could. Fine.
Right.
But that's not what's going to cause chronic insomnia.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And using me as an example, I'm sure you guys have seen me. I train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday a lot of times, and I go to work sometimes the next day at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. So when I'm training, I'm leaving at 7:45 or 8 o'clock, even though we're rolling till 8:30, because if I stay till 8:30, I won't leave till 8:45 or 9 o'clock, and then I get home and it's all of a sudden 10, and all of a sudden it's 11 and 12, and then all of a sudden I get 5 hours of sleep. So I have to leave at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in order to be able to get home, so I know I can get enough sleep. Otherwise, like, my sleep is screwed up, and it feels like a little bit of insomnia because I'm just a little sleep deprived and everything. But I don't have problems going to sleep. I just know that I need to leave. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to sleep well during that time. Does that ever affect you? Do you ever have to go home and like take a couple hours before you're able to wind down? Because that's what it takes for me. It takes me like 2 hours before my mind is just like, okay, cool, you can stop running and shut down.
Weirdly enough, that I never thought of that as a potential issue, especially when I had insomnia. I thought that I wasn't sure what the issue was when I was in the thick of it. But I'm kind of glad that thought didn't cross my mind of, if I train late at night, then I'm not going to get any sleep.
Because your body's running and everything.
Yeah. Having said that, I do want to point out that if you think that if you're struggling with insomnia, it's usually not very helpful to, let's say that you are struggling with insomnia. It's not helpful to say, I should not train at
this time.
I should not train because it's going to make my insomnia worse. Because whenever you make a decision to appease insomnia, that's typically not very helpful.
Yeah, right.
It gives it more power. And you're just over time, you're training yourself that this monstrous thing that you're dealing with is so overwhelmingly powerful. I need to appease it. Better make it happy.
Yeah.
I don't want. That coffee looks good. Yeah, but that coffee looks really good. But I shouldn't drink that, even though it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Because
I might not be able to sleep tonight. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah. It almost becomes like trying to think the right way to phrase this. I mean, you can hear how irrational it sounds.
Yeah. It's scary though, because I feel like there's sometimes when I could see myself thinking like that. Right. And in reality, it's like, nah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're all good. You just gotta, I guess, put yourself in the right mind. Like, I guess the mind frame, right? When you're dealing with these things, it's kind of scary though. Fuck. I could see myself panicking.
It is scary, but as somebody who's gone through the other side of it, and I'm saying this as somebody who's suffered from insomnia really bad for 7 years. If I lost some sleep, if I had a few days of no sleep, I wouldn't feel fear. I wouldn't feel the fear that it sounded like I heard
Yeah,
you just say,
yeah.
which sounds strange because it's like, how can I not be a little nervous about going through something that's so terrifying? It's because the treatment to getting over insomnia is to be at peace with the fact that you're awake at night. And we can talk about practical ways, because I know that kind of sounds woo-woo. I hate being woo-woo. I like to keep things tangible and practical for myself and for my clients as well. But if you're able to, the technique that I call it befriending wakefulness. It's because we're not running away from being awake.
Right.
We're not running towards sleep. We can't force sleep to happen. It's something that has to happen to us. But by making wakefulness as enjoyable and as pleasant as possible, then that's not only does that drastically help out the feeling of that groggy hangover that we get the next day, but it also really improves the chances that we're going to get sleep, not only that night, but going forward. And it's also reducing our fear of being awake at night, because what was originally this horrible nightmarish monster where people are tossing and turning in their beds, and people are doing like really, like I know somebody who had insomnia for so bad they almost took a hammer to their head to make sleep happen.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend.
That's permanent sleep.
So so you can imagine how terrified this person was.
Right.
Yeah.
But by realizing, by teaching themselves over time that being awake isn't something that isn't nearly so bad, it starts this feedback loop where gradually more sleep starts to happen, and then naturally, since they do get sleep, they're naturally in a more their emotions more stable, and then it gets a little bit better and better and better.
Less anxiety,
and
so, less depression, less stressfulness, all the above. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually did a little research on some of the NHL, NBA, and MLB.
Yeah.
Because a lot of athletes, they're saying that they have insomnia because of the travel, right? They travel all the time. They go to new spots. They have different time zones. F1 literally has sleeping coaches, because they go to different countries, and therefore it's a different time of day and different hours, so it screws them up.
Makes sense.
But I was doing a little research on it because during the NHL, NBA, and MLB, they changed their game times and their travel times on purpose, just for insomnia, just for athletes to be able to get rest, because they're traveling and doing this, not sleeping in their same beds, that they're going all over the place. And one of the things I wrote down was the NHL has 82 games within the year. So imagine how many times they're traveling, having to pick up and do that. And imagine how poor a sleep they're going to have because they're on a bus or a plane or doing something. NBA actually has 82 games also. MLB, 162. Jeez.
That's a lot.
Too many. These guys are playing back-to-back double headers, this and that. And it's like, no wonder why these guys can't sleep. They're all over the place, just scatterbrained and not knowing where they are. Some guys don't even know what cities they're in half the time, unless they're playing a team that it's Cincinnati. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know that we're here. EPL, just had to write that one down. They only have 38 games within the season, but those guys like Manchester and all them have pretty much 60 to 70 games if you're counting Champions League and whatever tournaments and whatnot. So just thought I'd throw that out there. A little interesting considering you're talking about athletes and everything and going through that.
Yeah, and when you brought up all the game statistics, that remind me of another career where you see insomnia is for airline pilots.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
And it's not only, and people think it's like, oh, that makes sense because they have all these odd hours and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's not. That is a factor for sure. There's whenever you have grounds for sleep disturbances, like all those people that are suffering from sleep because they're traveling and stuff. That to me, a lot of that, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe most of those cases weren't insomnia, but just normal run-of-the-mill sleep disturbance. Like if anyone travels that much, of course sleep isn't going to be on top of it.
Right.
But it only becomes insomnia when they've developed that fear. But there's a huge correlation among people suffering from insomnia to also have a type A personality, and it's also very prevalent with airline pilots and professional athletes. And the reason for that is because
pretty much.
And the reason for that is because you have these people who have identified this problem. It's a very serious problem. So goddamn it, they're going to throw all this effort into it. They're going to get rid of it. No, it's not going away. Okay, I'll try this. No, that didn't work. So that's why almost in every single other aspect of life, having a type A personality is going to be
They're
beneficial
successful,
for you.
successful, and all of a sudden they have this underlying problem.
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait, can't get rid of that underlying problem.
Exactly. Yeah. It is the exact wrong mindset to have when it comes to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Because 30 to 50% of people deal with insomnia. I didn't even know that. I write that one down too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And actually, it's with people that are 60 and older. When you're dealing with your clients, are any of them in the older age bracket, or are you just dealing with everybody that's within, I don't know, young to old, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you kind of deal with?
I only work with adults. The clients that I've worked with are in the range of, I think, like 27 to late 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the way that it's happened organically.
Yeah.
And are all these athletes, or are all these just random people that just have sleeping disabilities, or do you mainly just deal with athletes?
I'm trying to focus specifically on athletes only because honestly it kind of makes things easier from a marketing perspective because it makes me more relatable. I'm, somebody.
You're an athlete yourself.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
and I can speak specifically to certain problems. Like I have a competition tomorrow. What if I don't get any sleep?
Right.
Having
you can
said
be more relatable.
Exactly.
Actually do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Having said that, most of the people that I've worked with, are, maybe they like dabble in a sport or something like that, but they're typically just, they certainly wouldn't identify as an athlete. It's the same. The stuff works regardless of what career you're in and what you do for fun.
Right.
So I've just chosen to try and focus specifically on that demographic.
Right.
One of the things I was going to ask you is sleeping pills a solution, or is it something that potentially actually causes more of a problem, or it just doesn't help at all? And the other one is marijuana at the same time too, right? Because a lot of people smoke or do CBD in order to be able to help themselves fall asleep. Are those factors that play in? Because most people don't want to get addicted to like pills or sleeping agents or anything like that. So people with insomnia, it sounds like that might not even work.
So it could work.
It could fall asleep a little bit, right? For a small percentage, maybe.
Well, so there's this there's an effect called the delegation effect. Whenever it's like an insomnia specific term where you take a thing, whether it be a drug or a supplement or a thing, you're making something happen. And what's psychologically happening is that you're outsourcing your responsibility to sleep on that thing. You took this magic pill that's going to take away all the problems, and it could work for a little bit. I had the same thing. I was taking trazodone for quite a while, and when I say it worked really well for days, weeks, months, whatever. And I thought I'd found the thing.
Yeah.
And even for this drug specifically, I didn't have to worry about a tolerance building up because for whatever reason, I forget why that's the case, but for whatever reason, trazodone has this effect where you don't really need to worry about a tolerance. So I'm like, I found the magic thing that's going to fix my problem. But it's not addressing the root cause of the issue.
Right.
So as soon as you start to slip,
and that goes back to that what you were saying earlier.
Coming right back around.
Exactly. Yeah. And the same thing. And there's no shortage of safety behaviors. When I say safety behaviors, stuff like a sleeping pill or a prescription drug or CBD or THC. I mean, these are all very powerful tools to make sleep happen. And it can be tricky, especially with THC, because a lot of people suffering from insomnia, not only are they using it as a way to force sleep to happen, but also they genuinely enjoy doing it recreationally.
Right.
So that can be kind of tricky. I was working with a client very recently who is trying to navigate that. Like, am I taking this? Am I smoking this to make sleep happen, which I know I shouldn't do, or am I doing this because I'm genuinely
enjoying it?
Because I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
Right.
So that can be tricky to navigate.
Because using their mindset, they have to be able to show themselves which one it is, right?
Exactly.
If they got to take those steps, and if they take the wrong step, they choose it. Oh, I'm doing it recreational. Then all of a sudden they're not going to sleep because it was supposed to be for their sleep.
They took the wrong choice to make, and as time goes on, they'll learn to relax about making the right or wrong choice, because that can create another level of anxiety. Like, am I doing this for the right reasons or the wrong reasons?
Right.
So yeah, there's no shortage of safety behaviors that people can take to make sleep happen. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they're just masking it. And sometimes they can mask it for a really long time. That's what we call an insomnia truce, where and truces can last for a while, even upwards of like half a year or something like that.
Okay.
And they'll think, okay, I've got it, I'm able to sleep consistently, but it's always there in the back of their head, like they
It's
just
still there.
they found the routine that
Yeah.
works for them
Mhm.
because to these drugs credit, like they are powerful sleeping agents,
Yeah.
and sometimes doing the Andrew Huberman routine or the Rhonda Patrick, what's her name? Is it
Ronda
Ron-
Rousey?
No.
This guy.
She's another like Andrew Huberman, like biohacker type person who's frequently on Joe Rogan and stuff. But anyway, same sort of thing. She has like her own stack for sleeping stuff. But anyway, the point is that like if you do all those things, like there is benefit to sleep, and it could increase the chances of sleep happening. And sometimes somebody suffering from insomnia could reap those benefits. But at the same time, it's not the consistent, sustainable, long-term solution for them.
Because can the body start to reject pills after a while? Because you know how you get build a tolerance, like you just said.
Oh, sure,
Can the
yeah.
body all of a sudden after a while be like, it doesn't matter if you take that pill or not.
Yeah,
Like I'm already over it. Yeah, like
Yes.
we're past that.
Yes.
We need to go to a different solution. So your solution that you just had for your half a year, it's gone. Like, you got to start over.
And that can be another thing. And to speak to the anxiety that somebody suffering from insomnia would have, is even if they've only taken these things for like a week or two, when really like, and its tolerance probably hasn't developed that much, they'll tell themselves, oh, that's it. The tolerance has already set in.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got
I
to
can't
find
do
the
it
next
anymore.
thing.
Yeah.
And so you can get a sense for how many games they have to play and how much work and mental energy goes towards making sleep happen, when for most people, they just go to bed.
Yeah, comes easily.
It sounds really psychological.
I come from a school of thought that it's, I can't say 100% psychological, but I'm very confident saying that's 99%
good percentage.
psychological.
Yeah, there's 1% of like the outside is going to affect it, but that's only because it potentially might affect that one step that you need to take. That that just messed everything up. I can't do it now. Right? Like I can't fall asleep. I already know I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, man, that's rough. That's really rough.
It is rough, but there's a way out of it.
Right.
So.
And I guess that could lead us into your company, right? So
yeah,
let's talk about it. So Insomnia to Peace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you start it? Like, obviously we know why.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess, like how many clients do you have?
So
when did you start it? How long ago?
Yeah. So I filed for the LLC in January and I got certified a month and a half ago. I got certified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So when I was doing the certification program and on the side, I was working with clients on a pro bono basis, and pretty much whoever I could find online. I said, look, I've had this issue. I've gone through. I now have I understand the problem well enough to be able to help people out of it.
Right.
And when I was in the certification program, I was also a part of these group drop-in calls where we would have maybe upwards of like a dozen people calling in. It was like a Zoom meeting.
Sorry, how long is the certification process?
It was 3 months.
Okay. Do you have to go online and do it, or is it an actual course you have to go to?
Yeah, I did it through this program called the Sleep Coach School.
Okay.
I found by this man, Daniel Erickson, who helped me overcome my insomnia.
Okay.
And
thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's heard me say that more than enough times.
Nice.
So because if it wasn't for him, I'd be in a really rough place. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I would be a part of these drop-in calls as a coach in training, and then they would have the main certified coach there as well. But I really enjoyed the work, and everything that they said I identified with and could help them out with that. So, but since I graduated from the program, I've made a point to start playing the social media and the marketing game and try to build out more content. And I've developed some guides that people can find on my Instagram and stuff. And so just I'm at the point where I'm trying to provide as much value for free to people.
You're right.
Just to
get you started,
get me started, and build a sense of trust with these clients, because they've run out of they've lost count of the number of guaranteed solutions that's going to get them sleep.
Yeah.
There's so many empty promises. Like, I've tried marijuana, I've tried CBD, I've tried every single sleep hygiene thing. I've installed these expensive blackout curtains in my room.
There you go.
And all these things promise me sleep, and I'm still only getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night.
Does the oxygen? What's that? The oxygen room that you can close up and zip up and. Oh, is there an
I don't
oxygen
know
that you can sleep
the
in?
right terminology for it,
But
but
you
I
know what I'm
know
thinking
I know
about,
what you're
right?
talking about. Yeah.
Is that mine or is it one?
This is yours. This is
Okay.
yours. Yeah.
Were you asking if that could help out with
Yes, is
sleep?
that something, or it doesn't sound like it because it sounds like it's psychological. So even though they're sleeping in fresher air,
I mean,
that's more of a body thing versus a psychological.
Kind of goes back
thing.
to what you were saying earlier, right? About there's going back to that fear. Like you gotta address that's the
fear.
issue.
Whatever the fear
That's the
is.
issue. The other things are just like I would say like the fluff. It's the fluff to get you by, but it's not really getting to the source. You got to get to the source.
And is it the hard? Is that the hard part? People to actually find the source. They don't know what it actually is, or people know what it is. They just can't get past that hurdle.
Once people identify, that's a big stepping stone. It's almost always when people suffering from insomnia, especially if they've had it for a long time, maybe like a few months or several years, whatever.
Right.
Once they hear it articulated that way, they usually go, "Shit, that's it." That's a big moment for them, and then
it's like a little breakthrough.
It's their aha moment.
Yes, yeah. Now the next tricky thing. It sounds tricky and it sounds impossible to navigate, but from their perspective, it's totally understandable. They'll say, "Well, I can't force myself to feel relaxed. I can't force myself to lose this fear." And it's like, "No, don't worry. You don't have to. We can work that.
You don't have to force yourself.
You can't force yourself.
You can't, yeah.
But the good news is that they don't have to.
Good. What's your Instagram? That's one thing.
yeah, we should put that out there, huh?
Up, right?
Yeah. So if you look me up, Insomnia to Peace, there's you should be able to find it. You'll be able to find my YouTube website. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure there's like some underscores in the Instagram handle, but
same here with ours.
you should.
Yeah. But we'll make sure, guys, and we will definitely be tagging him in the stories. We'll put it out there so you guys will be able to find it. Very easy access.
Appreciate it.
Because again, this is for those of you that may not be dealing with this, there could be somebody that is. Right. And I think bringing this to attention and just getting it out there because it's huge. It's very informal. I'm learning a lot right now, so thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
This is good. This is really good stuff.
Of course, yeah.
I learned a lot from just researching on it, going through those stuff. Like interesting stuff. I can understand why you kind of went towards it, considering like you're dealing with it yourself, right?
Yeah.
But not to change the subject, but how'd you get into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, sure.
How'd you get into How'd you get into jiu-jitsu? How'd you get into Poway?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Sorry.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's where I
okay.
heard the coffee.
Okay.
I heard coffee. I was like, all right, that's the East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved out to San Diego about 7 to 8 years ago, and I guess where the whole jiu-jitsu thing started was when I was in high school. I did wrestling, and I was god awful at it. I was terrible.
At least you got a base. I don't even have that.
At least you got what?
At least you have a base of wrestling.
That's
a good base.
Yeah, I mean, I was really awful at it. So as soon as I just thought that like I was so bad at it that I convinced myself that martial arts in general are never going to be for me. But my younger brother David, he was a natural at wrestling. He picked it up and started kicking ass right away. And he had the advantage of he started wrestling at a younger age because he saw me do it.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if you guys have met David. He's one of PJ Barch's head coaches at South Bay.
No, I have not.
No, I have not.
Has he ever come up to Poway?
Oh yeah, no, that's where he started doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh really?
Yeah, and so when he got into it, he was I forget how exactly he got into jiu-jitsu, but it interested him because he was a successful wrestler, and I think he watched some UFC fights, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get into this a little bit." So he started with Kevin Barbarick over at 10th Planet Poway.
Yeah.
I was listening to your episode with him and Josh.
Nice.
Yeah. And so David really got into it, and it took David a year to talk me into doing it, and he was like, "No, you're gonna like it. It's gonna be fine." Because he knew that like I was just fucking awful at wrestling.
How fast did he get his blue belt? Since he was a wrestler, did he get it faster than 2 years?
He got it very fast.
See?
I think 6 months or something like that.
Okay, sorry to ask, but I just gotta know.
Very, very good. Yeah, he got his brown belt after I think 4 or 5 years of training. Is
he going 4 or 5 days a week, 6 days a week?
He's what you don't get to be PJ Barch's coach unless you're very, very good.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, he lives and breathes this stuff. So I'm lucky that I can just hit him up whenever.
Yeah.
Like, how do I deal with this or whatever? But so yeah, I mean, it took him a long time to talk me into doing it, and I was like, fine, just to shut him up one day. I signed up right before COVID started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, when I saw like how, cool I always thought like submissions were cool. I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu really was. But when I saw what it actually was about, I couldn't believe that like I could actually just learn this sort of stuff. I mean, submissions always seemed really cool for me, but
Right.
I thought like you'd have to, in order to learn that shit, you'd have to do something at like the beginning of Batman Begins, where you travel to some like far off monastery and learn like the ancient art. But really, you could just pick it up from like badass stoners in some suburban parking lot and
In Poway.
yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah. And I just really they've done a really good job with the culture at Poway, and it's a really cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
they did.
100%.
Yes, they have.
As laid back as the
Sure.
school is, the stuff that you learn is highly legitimate.
Oh, it's top notch.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So-
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going there for a short time, and I could already see like my game has dramatically
It
changed
has. It
in a
has.
positive way.
Yes.
and
it
and
has.
I mean, talking about Tempe in general, Tempe Poway. I think just the culture, like you mentioned, the culture there is probably what made me feel even more at home than anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think you guys could definitely agree with that too.
Yeah.
Very welcoming. Like
That's
I've
why I
not.
wanted to bring you there in
Yeah,
the
man.
first place, because I was talking.
Did you train before Poway?
He was at City.
No, city boxing, still there too,
Okay.
but slowly transitioning over to Tempe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I was telling him like I didn't really say like you need to be here. It was more just come out.
Yeah.
Just come out and roll and figure it out yourself. And then he came that one day after we did Kevin's interview, and he rolled afterwards. And right after that, he's like, "So Friday."
I was
and I was like, yeah, we're here, like we're coming in. And then right after that, he's like, dude, I have to sign up for this. Like, there's no
Wise choice.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that I need to be here in order to train with all of these guys and just the culture and the atmosphere of it.
Mhm.
And I told him I've gone down to San Diego. I like San Diego. No talking shit about San Diego at all. It's a great gym to be at, but just the culture and the people there, and just everybody in Poway just is so welcoming and so nice, and everybody's so helpful and just really wants you to learn the sport of jiu-jitsu, right? Because you learn off of everyone else, and then you teach them, and it just makes it that much more fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a great spot.
how long did it take you to get your blue?
To get my blue, I was 2.5 years, something.
Okay. And how many days a week were you going before you got your blue?
I was going pretty aggressively. I was going, well, at first, like I only did for the first like maybe 6 months or so. I was only going like two times a week,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
That's kind of how it starts, right? You have to get your feet wet a little bit and be like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with the
Exactly.
6 months. Now I'll do 3 days.
Yeah.
I'll do 4.
Were you always no gi, or did you do gi too?
Never did gi.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, well, strictly
Shouldn't say that,
10.
Yeah, I started off with. I got hooked in. Like I still to this day I still like gi. I think it's good with like the technical stuff and kind of. But then when I got a taste of no gi, I was like, oh boy, this I like
This
this
is fun.
beast. This beast is a beast I like.
Fun.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll pick up gi at some point or another.
So
but
Kevin gave you your blue belt?
Kevin gave me my blue belt
Okay.
after. And at that point when I got my blue belt, I was going 5 or 6 times a week or something like that.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting there 3 to 4 every now and then 5 depending on the week, but my body is just like, yeah, you need to rest. You need to rest.
Yeah.
It just can't.
Nothing wrong with
right?
that,
I
so.
just can't.
Nothing wrong with
It's being
rest.
smart.
Yeah, I'm at 4 days. That's my golden week. 4 days.
Mhm.
One of those resting.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get your purple belt? I heard the purple belt's the most difficult belt to get in the lineup, right? Like I've actually seen pictures of people like, oh, it took me this long to get blue, and it took me this long to get purple, and it took me this long to get brown, and this long to get black. It's like, wait, that purple belt's like one of the hardest belts to get.
That seems to be the consensus. Yeah,
Okay.
is that's once you I think it was Joe Rogan who came up with the expression. Maybe it wasn't him, but he made it popular. Getting your blue belt is easy, but once you get your purple belt, you're pretty much a black belt.
That's like the favorite belt. I
That's-
think I saw that one. Yeah.
yeah.
That's like the best one that you can get, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's when you start to really have a high percentage game,
A good understanding of the game.
and not I can't say of all of jiu-jitsu in general, because
Right.
there's tons of shit that I don't know. I mean, like I don't even mess around with like arm bars, for example, really, and that's I'm sure there are like plenty of like white belts or blue belts that have a better. It's just for whatever reason I just suck at them. But to have a game that works against competent people consistently,
Right.
You know,
That's actually a really good way of putting it.
yeah.
Have you ever done competition?
Oh yeah, a few times. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting ready for competition in April. So
Okay.
Which one are you doing?
That's
Jiu-Jitsu
the
World League?
yeah.
Oh, you got to sign.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Glad you signed up. I tried to sign up the other day. It's sold out.
Yeah.
Del Mar sold out.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm mad about it because I was waiting to get permission.
Mhm.
Be like, yeah, you can go. Like, you can have the day off, and I got the day off, and then I go, sold out. It's twice now.
Dang.
No,
What's the
Not
dates
happy
on
about
that? What's the dates?
April 12th. It's April 12th.
Think
Del
so,
Mar.
yeah.
April
The
12th.
Del Mar
Okay.
Arena.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's at home.
Make sure you guys peep
Right.
in. Hey, come through. You guys can meet us.
What was the other tournament that you did in the past?
So I've done a
You
few
do Naga, I'm assuming?
Nagas,
Yeah.
Grappling X, did an in-house tournament at Oceanside. I need to, for the amount of I train, I should be
You
competing
should
more
be.
often.
Yeah. Are you going to do IBJJF? Is Josh trying to talk you into that?
That's the tournament that Josh is,
Because that's the May one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, 10th Planet Poway is trying to go to the IBJJF and try to win the team title. So we need as many people there in order to be able to join it. That's why he's getting you there.
Yep.
That's why Josh is actually doing it himself, because Kevin called him out and said, "You're trying to get all these people, and you're not doing it yourself.
That's
Don't
funny.
you step up and give us some points too? Just
Yeah.
give us one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Well, let's
All
bring
right.
that trophy home, guys.
Yeah.
Let's bring that trophy
Right.
home.
Too bad Cam and I can't compete because it's a blue belt and up, so it's okay. Maybe
It's all right.
maybe
One
next
day.
year.
One
Maybe
day.
we will be there in support for sure.
sounds good.
Definitely
Yeah.
be there in support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What else, bro?
So competition wise, let's get back into that. So competition wise, how, like, I guess for me, I just did my first competition. Obviously nervous as shit.
Mhm.
How do
Yeah.
you go about competing? Like what's a competition the day before and then day of? Like how are you feeling?
You know, I honestly, I'm not the best competitor. I do okay,
Yeah.
but I'm certainly not going to win ADCC anytime soon. But I just see it as just another day in the office.
Mhm.
You know, just like just see it as like a very aggressive role. You know,
It's not going to be as easy as being in the gym. It's going to be, okay, you're going a little hard on this one.
going
Yeah.
a little,
A
yeah,
little faster.
and you know, I don't know. I don't put so much. I mean, if you're looking for like wisdom, for like competition wisdom, I don't have a whole lot. I just showed up and said, you know, I'm gonna give it my all, and
Yeah.
we'll just see what happens.
That's perfect because I mean I told Karis this before when I was getting ready for my first one.
Mhm.
I went to the darkest place that I could and I wanted to kill that guy. And it didn't go well.
Yeah,
It did not go well.
Not the first
Yeah.
one.
Second one, more relaxed. Hey, we're just here to have some fun.
Right.
It
Yeah.
went way
Yeah.
better.
good.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
So
That's how I try to get ready for my first two. Try to go to that dark place like I was going to be fighting.
Mhm.
And then my third competition, I was just like, no, dude, you need to go and have some fun. Just kind of like I play soccer. Like if I'm not having fun playing a sport, like I'm not enjoying it. So therefore
Yeah.
I'm not at my peak performance. But if I'm having fun and enjoying it and talking some shit and like laughing it up, like watch out, you're in trouble, bro. I'm
just
scoring
being
on
relaxed,
you.
right? Just
Yeah.
relaxed.
I'm enjoying this. Right? This is what we train for, and to be able to enjoy this competition.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy it, what's the point of being there?
And,
Right?
you know, like the last tournament I did was the first one where I didn't have an adrenaline dump right into it. So it's just like it's just.
You didn't get that forearm pump and everything.
I mean, like I did get some lactic
Happens every
lactic
time,
acid for
doesn't it?
sure,
Doesn't matter.
but it was more so like I wasn't gassed 1 minute into it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Are you doing cardio for this one more? Like the bike, or are you doing more training on the mat? Like what's potentially
I don't do
more?
any other outside workouts or anything
Okay,
like
everything
that.
is just on the mat.
Just everything. Yeah, I just roll aggressively.
Okay.
So
Okay. And are you doing every single 7 minute, or are you taking a break at all?
almost
Kind
all.
of like me.
I don't.
You try to stay on?
I try to stay on as long as I can.
Right.
It's really not often that I take a round off. So that's just the best way to
It is. It
build
is.
up the endurance.
It is actually, right?
So-
I think I've noticed that's the best way you learn too. You can go to all the fundamentals, you can go to all the little training sessions, and
Mhm.
Kevin and Josh can teach us this and that, but you got to put it into play once you actually roll, right? You actually start to physically use it and understand why you're using it and where you're using it and be able to actually capitalize on it. So,
Yeah.
Are you doing open mats too or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I go to my favorite one right now is my favorite ones are Poway on Saturdays and
Right.
Legion on Sundays.
Oh, you go to Legion.
Ah,
Oh, is
okay.
it? Okay.
yeah,
I've heard
Legion's great.
I've
And
heard
it's
I've heard
no-gi
Legion's great.
Legion? Yeah.
I haven't checked that one.
You've been to
I've gone to
Victory.
Victory. I've tried
Have
Victory.
you been to Victory?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
We'll get
Victory's
Victory
pretty
guys
good.
going
You
to
said you
Legion.
like Victory.
Yeah,
didn't
Victory's
you?
pretty cool. I mean, it's a lot of
There's a
people.
lot of guys there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, Legion. Where's Legion?
That's over been oh shit, I'm drawing a
Is it
blank.
Claremont? No.
Is it Miramar?
I think it's Miramar.
Yeah,
Miramar,
Miramar.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
you got to take the
Miramar.
15.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I know where that's at.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So we've talked about competing. We've talked about. Have you? I guess I'm gonna try and combine two here.
Okay.
Have you ever had like dealing with insomnia and jujitsu at the same time?
Oh sure, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was the I was dealing with Insomnia, but when I signed up for jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway I can get from that is and this doesn't apply to strictly jiu-jitsu, but for any hobby, people will tell themselves suffer. When I say people, I mean people suffering from insomnia. They'll tell themselves, I shouldn't go through with the plans that I want to do to increase my chances of getting. I can't go out late with my friends. I can't go out and do this, fun exercise that I definitely would have.
Because they know they're not going to be able to sleep.
They think they're not going to be able to sleep, but by to appease to insomnia, that just gives it more power and just robs you from the life that you're actually living. So just no matter how tired or exhausted you are, show up and you would be surprised at how well you can perform, even if you're extremely sleep deprived. I mean, for me, when I was in the middle of a really bad speed bump and I had I just had next to no energy for rolls. Those are the rolls that I learned a lot because I wasn't going as hard as I could have.
Right.
And I saw
as fast as you could go.
As fast as I could have. Yeah, I just wasn't as athletic.
Right.
But I could see, because I was forced to chill, I was just like, here's an opportunity I never saw before. I could try. Exactly. Yeah. I was forced to be more patient.
Yeah.
Or is that more counter attacking a little bit too? Because being patient, right? You're waiting to see what they do.
Sure, yeah. Like there's a lot of guard pulling during those days, but
what's your favorite choke? Right now, mine's the head and arm triangle. I like the rear naked butt.
I like the arm triangle. I've been messing around with Darces lately, and the reason why I like those positions is because you do them from top position. I try to make my game as
top dominant.
Yes, as MMA friendly and as probably as practical as possible.
He did the Khabib to me for the first 6 months straight. Just wrap my legs up and just crawl up me every single time and just get right on top of my leg.
That's
what
I
get off me.
Learn it because I feel I get to that position a lot with people's legs.
Yeah.
And I feel because I like to be top dominant too.
Right.
Yeah. I think I feel more in control.
Yeah.
And if I'm able just to fucking get the legs out of the picture, I think, oh man.
Get him to do that. Dude.
Off camera, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's really good at wrapping those legs up and just crawling up and
Khabib
many times stop it, get off me.
Khabib was a big influence for sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a UFC fan?
I'll watch some of the bigger fights, but most of the names I don't really know. But every now and then, I like watching breakdown analysis of how people did utilize grappling successfully in matches, whatever. But I'm definitely
Sean Brady this weekend.
Yeah.
I was actually a perfect question. If there is a UFC or MMA athlete that you would mimic, who would say mimics your style? Jiu-jitsu wise.
I mean,
or who do you emulate yours after? Maybe is it kind
of
true.
Yeah, I know Khabib was a really big influence. I really liked how I was really attracted to the how much control he maintained on top. And Craig Jones came out with a instructional called Power Ride.
Okay.
That really became, and that was the point where I was floundering around. I didn't really have a game, but that instructional became the cornerstone of my game.
Really?
Yeah. And I have as a result, it takes me a while to get submissions, but most of my game study has been focusing on control.
Yeah.
And then eventually at some point, the other person is just going to, an opportunity will present itself.
Because they're going to concede a spot because they're tired of you being where you're at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is I've done to you multiple times. Bro, stop it. And then I move, and all of a sudden you're like, "Thank you for moving. I wanted you to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that spot now."
Yep.
Damn it. Who do you like to roll with in the gym? Who's one of your favorite partners?
No, this guy.
No, seriously.
He's hoping you're saying him.
No, it's not me. I know
Sounds
it's not.
like it.
No, I'm saying just somebody that actually gives you good competition. For example, Ryan kicks my ass, right? But
Ryan's very
but I
good.
like rolling with Ryan because Ryan's more my size, right?
Yeah.
And I have a little bit more of a chance of not having Andy sit on my head or sit on my chest where I can't breathe. And I'm just like tap tap, like get off
Yeah.
me. Like that's why I'm saying I like rolling with Ryan.
Well,
Just for that reason.
Ryan is great. Elijah is great to roll with.
Mhm.
You know, they're just
boys?
the most very. Yeah, we can have some very competitive rolls.
Right.
Sam too. Either of the Sams.
Both
They're
Sams?
both
Yeah.
they're both really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you caught Kevin or Josh in anything? Have you submitted them?
No.
No. Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't even roll with them. I'm good. I'm watching.
I roll Josh all the time.
Uh-uh.
No, not even close.
You
not even
know,
close. Bro.
Kevin scares me, bro.
Are you kidding me? Like you?
And seeing like his videos of him, like, bro, he scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, he's good.
And he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's good. But a gentle giant. He's a very he's the chillest dude ever.
He can read children's stories too.
So guys, hey, I think that's gonna give us a wrap, right?
Yeah.
Again, John, dude, thank you so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate. I think teaching us a lot and sharing us your journey is huge. Again, guys, make sure you guys check him out on Instagram, YouTube, right? Anything else? Twitter, TikTok?
No Twitter, no TikTok, but I do have a website, insomniatopeace.com.
Perfect.
Anyone, you can use Google, you should be able to find it.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe. We'll put all his details into the Instagram, on our Instagram. Make sure you guys are able to see it. With that being said, guys, the MMA game is out.